Hey, so we've talked about how to graph linear equations, how to graph lines, straight lines. The first method was, just by way of recap, making a table of values. So if you've got y equals negative 2x minus 4, you could make a table of values. You could choose some random x numbers and then plug it in, figure out what the y numbers are, and then you can take those coordinates, plot them on the graph, and find your line, right? Or, last time we talked about setting x equal to 0 and finding the y intercept, or setting y equal to 0, finding the x-intercept. Once you find those two intercepts, like there and there, and you can graph that line, right? Now, today we're going to take a break from that, and we're going to talk about this big word right here, slope. Cool. So, for example, this train right here is going up a certain Swiss Alp mountain range, the Mount Pilatus Railway. This is the steepest railway in the world. Look how steep that looks. It's not super steep, is it? This slope is not a very big or large slope. It's quite low. Now let's talk about what slope is. The slope of a non-vertical line is the ratio of its vertical change, called the rise, to its horizontal change, called the run. What does that look like? Slope is rise over run. Rise over run. Rise over run every time. It is never run over rise. Now, rise is in the vertical dimension, right? Run is in the horizontal dimension. So let's see what this looks like. For this train, let's find the slope of this line. Slope always equals rise over run. Well, if this train goes 50 feet horizontally, and in that horizontal 50 feet, it rises 20 feet, then we would put that 20, the rise, over the run, 50, and we could reduce that to 2/5. And 2/5 is the slope. Slope will always be a fraction. Now, sometimes it might just look like a whole number, like 3, but 3 is actually a fraction, right? 3 over 1. So, it has a slope of 2 over 5. Now, there's a way to find slope for any line in a coordinate plane. So here we've got a green line sitting in a coordinate plane, and if you know the coordinates of 2 points, any 2 points, you can find the slope of that line. The slope of this line. Here's the formula. Now, slope we always use the variable m for. So whenever you see m, that means slope. M equals rise over run is the same as rise over run, which is the same as the change in y over the change in x. So so you can just decide, hey, I'm going to make this my first coordinate, my first set of coordinates here. So here's, that's what the ones mean here. This is coordinate 1. This is coordinate 2. So I'm going to take y2 minus y1, so y minus this y, and put it over x minus this x. And that calculates the slope. Let me give you an example. So here's an example. Find the slope of the line. I know these 2 points. The coordinates of this one is 1, 2. The coordinates of this one is 5, 7. Okay? So 1, 2, and 5, 7. So I just got to find rise over run. Rise always deals with the y coordinates, which are these, right? So let's do these minus these, just because I know these are bigger. So 7 minus 2 over 5 minus 1 will give me 5 over 4. That's the slope. 5 over 4. Now, if you were going to do these minus these, you would get 2 minus 7 over 1 minus 5. And that's okay, you can do that. You'd get negative 5 over negative 4. Negative divided by a negative is always positive. It's the same thing, 5 over 4. Now, another interesting little tidbit here is that it doesn't matter what 2 points on the line you use. We could use a point right here and a point right here. We could plug it into this formula and it would give us the same exact slope, because isn't this portion of the line have the same slope as the whole line? Yeah, this all has the same slope. So any 2 points on the line you can use in this formula to find the slope. Now here, you know this slope already. This is a negative slope, isn't it? It's going back to the left. So they do 6 minus 4, or wait, 6 minus 3, or they do 3 minus 6, okay. So this one minus that one over this x, 4, minus this x, 2, okay, gets you negative 3 over 2. So negative 3/2 is the slope. Okay, so you might have some problems here where they're just going to give you 2 coordinates and you got to find the slope. For this one you do, let's go this way, 6 minus 0. You always do the y's first, always the y's on the top. 6 minus 0 over 0 minus 10. That slope would be 6 minus 0 over 0 minus 10. Wouldn't that give us 6 over negative 10, which is the same as negative 3/5? Because I divided 6 by 2 and 10 by 2. Right? That would be the slope. Why is it negative? Because we got a positive divided by a negative. So slope's not too bad, except there's one more thing I got to show you. If you have a horizontal line, which, by the way, what would the equation of this line be? It's going through 3. Is y always 3, or is x always 3? Y equals 3 or x equals 3? Which one is it? Well, the x is actually changing. Look, that's a different x, and that's a different x. X is going all over here, to the left and to the right. But the y always remains at 3. So, that's y equals 3. And this one here would be x is always 1. Right? X is always 1 no matter where you are on this line. So, if I was like, hey, what's the slope of this flat line? Or we're looking at a lake or something, like, hey, what do you think the slope of the water is? And you're looking at a lake, you'd be like, it's not even sloping. There's no slant to a flat surface. And so we say the slope of a horizontal line is 0. In fact, if you choose 2 points, put it into this formula for slope, you'll always get 0 over something, which is always 0. 0 divided by anything is 0. Now, so remember that. Horizontal line, slope is 0. Now if you have a vertical line, plug your points in, any 2 points on this vertical line, you're always going to get 0 in the denominator. 0 in the denominator, your calculator can't do. There's no such thing as dividing by 0. Can't do it. So we call that undefined. It doesn't equal 0. Do 5 divided by 0 on your calculator. It will not tell you 0. It will say error or undefined. You can't divide anything by 0. So we say this slope, horizontal line, is 0. But this slope, oh, we got a 0 in the denominator? That is like, error, glitch. We call that slope undefined. So, little recap on slope. This is a positive slope. You could figure it out by finding 2 points, like 2, 0, and 1, 2, 6, 2. You could plug it into that formula. You could find the slope of this line. Always reduce if you can. This is a negative slope. This is a slope of 0. This is an undefined slope. Picture a guy. Like, if a person can go up or down or across on your line, even if it's super steep, then it has slope. But if it's straight vertical, they will fall. Right? That's undefined. So, you're going to have to just keep flipping back or just memorize this real quick. It's the change in y over change in x. That is how you find the slope. And yeah, and if you see something like this, what's the slope of this ramp? Well, you've got rise 1.3 over run 8.4. So you just put that into your calculator. 1.3 over 8.4. Divide that, and what do you get? Alrighty then. I think that's about all I can show you. Have fun.